Hello everyone. Over the years we've come down to Shikoku Island in Japan to take part in the Shikoku Pilgrimage. The pilgrimage is a journey on foot to 88 Buddhist temples located in all of the island's prefectures, and the journey involves traveling along the island in a circular 1,200-kilometer route. It is believed that the founder of Shingon Buddhism in Japan, the monk Kobo Daishi, created the 1,200-kilometer route for the purpose of walking meditation and a source of enlightenment. On our last two pilgrimages, we got as far as Temple 27, so for this trip we're going to start at the next temple, which is 28, eventually making our way to Temple 36, which will be our completion point for this leg. Getting our gear ready, we then walked over to Kochi station, where we would find our train to take us near the first temple. While the pilgrimage is traditionally completed on foot and is the most preferable for us, many modern pilgrims will also use other modes of transportation to complete the route. Kobo Daishi would spend time at each of the 88 temples on the island training, and the route he took could have been an alternate beginning of the pilgrimage we see today, but the exact origin of the pilgrimage is still not entirely clear. However, the route did not become popular among the general Japanese public until the 17th century, when the first guidebooks were published. Today, many people from Japan and around the world take part in the pilgrimage for various reasons, and all are welcome regardless of race or nationality. But please remember, this is a religious pilgrimage, and all aspects of it should be treated with respect. Along the route, you will notice many interesting things, and one are these manhole covers, which in Japan are beautifully decorated and specific to each locality. The other are these rest stops that are placed randomly along the pilgrimage route, which are very welcome on hot or rainy days. If you decide to go by foot, it can't be emphasized enough that you need to be in good physical shape, as you'll be walking many kilometers per day in all kinds of weather, terrain, and elevations that can be over 900 meters. Pilgrims, also known as Ohenro, can choose to be attired in a sedge hat, white shirt, and wooden walking stick. These and other items you'll need while worshiping at each temple can be purchased at stores like this, which can be found at Temple 1 and other locations along the route. We are now outside Temple 28, and I'll give you a very basic worshiping protocol for each temple. Temples are open from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., but please consult other sources for more detailed information on worshiping protocols. As you approach the temple's main gate, you bow once before entering. Upon entering, purify yourself in the water-filled basin by using the ladles to wash your hands. Put on your sash and grasp hold of your rosary beads. First worship at the main hall and then the Daishi hall. Light a candle, 3 incense sticks, and then offer your name slips or a sumahuda at the appropriate areas of each hall. Give a small donation and then ring the bell at each hall. Clap your hands together and read the Heart Sutra. After you're done, go to the stamp office to receive the temple stamp, which I'll show you later. Exit the temple grounds and turn around at the main gate and slightly bow. After that, you're back on the trail, which are usually marked out with signposts like this to help you, but most of the time you'll find small Ohenro stickers on poles and other objects pointing the way to the next temple. And of course, in the modern age, you have GPS. As we continue along the route, you will see one reason why I enjoy going on this pilgrimage so much. In areas like this, you discover the real Japan outside the major tourist areas that you would normally associate with Tokyo and Kyoto. Here, you're taken out of all of that by walking through open fields, small towns, and probably my favorite part, hiking through forested mountain trails with rivers and springs. You get outside of the box on this religious pilgrimage and in touch with what is important. It truly is a beautiful walk, and the people you find along the way are some of the nicest.
Mountains in the distance.
Donna is taking video of higanbana, or spider lilies, that are traditionally associated with rice paddies as they were once used to keep rodents away due to their poisonous plant bulbs. We also discovered a beautiful spider hanging out in one of the drainage ditches.
Storehouses, yeah.
Like for what, rice?
Anything. Mostly food. It could be rice, yeah, but it's household goods.
After walking for some time, we were glad to find this rest stop set up for pilgrims. Rest stops along the trail can take on all forms, and here somebody has generously provided their garage as a place to rest, which for us was a chance to get out of the heat for a moment. We even had a praying mantis dancing for us. Well, actually, when realizing we were no longer a threat, it started to move little more and more, putting some distance between us. Although, being a bit concerned, I decided to wait around for a moment and make sure it did get off the road. After that, we walked a little bit more and began to notice the clouds getting darker. Being in an open area, we had an unobstructed view and could tell we were going to walk right into the rain. This was interesting. These are irrigation canals for rice paddies, but this is the first time I've ever seen two crossing over each other. As we entered the grounds of Temple 29, the rain started. And then it really started, taking shelter under the eave of the main temple. However, I could think of no better place for sitting back and watching the rain, even with the renovations going on. With the rain easing up a little bit, we pressed on. And by the time we entered Temple 30, the skies had cleared. This would be our last temple visit for the day before heading back to our hotel in Kochi, which was to be our base for the next 2 nights. We had a long walk over to the train station, and the train ride back to Kochi was extremely crowded, giving us something to talk about on our arrival back. So yeah, I'm getting into a train, and yeah, I was surrounded by girls, except for a couple guys.
Well, the guys are behind us, and then the girls are in front of us. And it's
so yeah, right away I'm nervous. It's like, oh my god, what the hell's going to happen here? But yeah, we do find ourselves on subway trains with a load of high school kids on them.
Yeah, once in a while. Yeah, I think you did the right thing, though, by putting your hand on my shoulder. It's like, A, for stability, but B, just so there's no misunderstandings. It's like,
well,
you know, one hand is here, the other hand's on my bag. There's no way that
well, I've heard about
anything's going anywhere inappropriate.
After we rested for a bit, we went for a much-deserved supper. We woke up to a nice clear day, but it would prove to be a tough one as temperatures were going to be in the low 30s, and I was beginning to feel some soreness in my throat. When first coming to Kochi a few years back, we also went to visit Temple 31, and this is still one of my favorite places along the trail. The temple houses a number of important sculptures, and its late Edo period gardens are a National Historic Site. Chikunarinji's main object of devotion is Monju Butsutsui, and the temple is said to have been founded in the 8th century. I'll step back for a moment and let you enjoy these beautiful temple grounds. After worshipping, you next go down to the temple's stamp office to get your stamp book or no-kyocho signed, with the temple's name in calligraphy and stamped. As I understand, the cost per temple stamp is 200 to 500 yen. Stamps, like the name slips mentioned before, serve as proof that you visited each temple. The no-kyocho, or stamps, originated from a regulatory process called tochi kenbaku during the Edo period, which was meant to regulate and restrict movements of people. Pilgrims of the time needed travel permits for this journey, and the no-kyocho served as proof of passage. Today, the book is a beautiful memento of your time spent on the pilgrimage and should be treated with respect. As noted before, the trails along the route can take on all types of terrain, from paved roads to very difficult mountain trails of increasing elevation where hiking poles are an absolute must.
Yeah, I got these small little mosquitoes hitting me here.
Yeah, they don't sting when they bite either.
Yeah, there's a lot of them here.
This section of the trail also came with loads of mosquitoes, so we're glad we had our Japanese encephalitis shots up to date. There are a lot of wilderness areas along the trail, and 3 dangerous animals you should be aware of are boars, giant hornets, and venomous snakes. While we have never encountered one of these, it's best to be aware of your surroundings at all times. Getting away from the mosquitoes, we came into a nice open area with a river and small village. I will mention here that there's been rumors floating around that you can camp anywhere you want, including within temple grounds. This is not true. You need permission to be able to camp anywhere in Japan. So please don't assume that you can do random camping. The day was beginning to get very hot, so we were glad to walk through this cool tunnel, but unfortunately we found the tunnel not long enough.
Oh, that breeze
That's
is
what
wonderful.
I'm looking forward to. It's like nice
Oh,
long
yeah.
tunnel.
Icy tunnel.
Yeah, icy tunnel. This will do though.
This is nice.
The main object of worship here is Funadama Kanan, and it is said that fishermen gather in prayer here to ensure a safe voyage on the sea. After arriving at Temple 32, we were to discover that after an incredibly hot hike up to it, we were to be greeted by an amazing view of the area below, which we would be walking on later. It really does offer beautiful views of the Pacific, and I wanted to stay here for a long time. The area that you see in front is where we have to go to get to Temple 33, and a ferry before it. At a lot of these Buddhist temples, you will find one of these brass bells. You can ring them, but I've always been a little afraid to try. We decided to take one last look before heading back down. Walking along the same lands below, we came upon this evacuation point that's placed in the event of a tsunami. Unfortunately, we did not have any time to climb it, and it was a 30°C day, and this route was a bit of a desert when it came to convenience stores and restaurants. Hungry and hot, we found this unique restaurant that had a Hawaiian theme. There was a lot of spam dishes on the menu, but I can say the food was damn good. After walking for a while, we found our ferry at Tanizaki Terminal, which would take us across Uredo Bay to Kajigura Terminal, allowing us to continue our trek to Temple 33, the last temple for the day. Not really sure what I was saying, clearly not taking into account the powerful diesel engine. after a relatively easy walk, we had arrived. But we were hot and tired from the 30°C day, and there was no doubt now that we had picked up a flu or something, and it was becoming clear that getting to the next 3 temples would be a challenge in the coming days. Starting early in the morning, we had a hearty breakfast in hopes it would provide the strength we needed to fight our flus. Unfortunately, the intermittent rain would continue for most of the day. This was our last morning in Kochi, so before catching our bus, we stopped for a moment to watch one of Kochi's famous streetcars. We had made it to our temple, which for the area is aptly named Tanemeji, which roughly translates as seed planting. According to temple records, Kobo Daishi planted 5 grains he brought back from China here. This area also brought me back to my favorite part of the pilgrimage route, being out walking in the countryside. We think this is a black kite whose calls you can hear. At this point, we had a tough hill climb to Temple 35 with a roughly 200-meter elevation difference between Temple 34. Arriving at the main gate, we took a moment to recover from our hot and humid climb. However, we paused longer to take a closer look at the main gate, as it was of a beautiful design and clearly had been there for some years. If you've been to many Buddhist temples in the mountains, you will begin to notice that there is always a good source of water nearby, and this temple is no exception with a pleasant spring running through it. I really enjoyed coming to Kyotakeji, but with the heat, humidity, and getting progressively ill, I had reached my limit. I needed to find a place to stay in Tosa for the night and get cooled down.
It's just a high heat, humidity. It was like 31 degrees, and probably, I don't know, a couple days ago I seen an 89 to 90% humidity. It's just, you walk into an air-conditioned room, and it just, all your heat just turns to vapor. It's just water everywhere inside the clothes. That's fully cold, and I do not care.
Hi everybody. We stopped at a inn here during our Ohenro, and I thought you guys would like a look at a typical Japanese room. Pretty typical tatami mat. Futons are in the closet here, and the futons, the bedding would go there for evening. I think we've got to lay them out ourselves. So you walk in through here, which is a typical Genkan, which is hot because we got the air conditioner running in the main room here, so that area is still really warm. And then the bathroom is here, so you got a pre-room, and then the shower and toilet are in there. So that is basically how the Japanese room works. There's another angle of it. After watching that, we built up an appetite, so it's time to find our supper. And the result of our search was a good one.
Alright, so this is Donna's version of how to make a Japanese bed. First, you must learn how to grunt like a Japanese
Grunt?
Girls go. Or something like that.
Yeah, it depends on what age they are.
Oh, I've seen adult women do that too.
Do you? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
especially when they're trying to be kind of cute.
Oh, okay.
Tuck it in all nice. I'm sure it's not hotel standard here.
Looks like it's going better than how I did mine.
Hey. You know what? Did I get... Oh, well. Then spread it out. Then you're supposed to have a little bit more space between the two beds, but that's okay. And then, hello.
Hello. We're done.
Don't forget to close the closet so the monsters don't come out in the middle of the night. There we go. Safe.
There we go.
Now you have your blanket, and you have to be careful of these things because this is very easy actually if you're stepping over your bed to actually trip on.
You don't sleep in there either.
No, you don't sleep in
So
there. You
sleep
go under.
here.
Yes.
So sheet, mattress, sheet, pillow,
Body.
body, blanket.
And then you find it too hot, so then you flip it off.
This is just a way of keeping the
Clean.
blanket clean.
We had a good night's sleep in Tosa, but needed to catch our bus to our final temple visit on this trip to Japan.
We got here.
Our bus dropped us off at an area outside Tosa called Dragon Beach, where we were properly greeted by one of the locals.
Hey, boys.
Yeah.
If you look closely here, you will see a type of road sign pointing towards a temple. As I've mentioned before, these, as well as other types of signs, are all along the trail to help guide you. These are Jizo statues, and you find a lot of these along the trail. They're there to protect travelers and children. We were not feeling that great today, but that did not stop us from taking in the beautiful views along the way up to Temple 36. We had arrived, and as can be seen, even the most devout Ohenro were beginning to remove much of their religious attire to fight the heat. And the rest area that the temple provided was much appreciated. I found this temple very beautiful, and fitting that this was the place where we will be pausing our pilgrimage. The temple's main deity is a Kala, of which I believe this statue represents. After finishing our prayers, we next made our way down the stairs to the stamp office. If you look closely at the tree, you will notice pieces of paper tied to the branches. These are omikuji, or fortunes, and if the result is bad luck, the bearer will attach it to the tree to remove the bad omen. After looking at the temple items for sale and getting our books stamped, we made our way back to Dragon Beach. We needed to use up some time before our bus arrived, and I could think of no better place to do that. I really hope you enjoyed this brief video of the Shikoku Pilgrimage. This is the highlight of our trips to Japan, and we are already looking forward to coming back to Shikoku Island and continuing on the trail. Thanks so much for watching. More videos are coming soon.